Hello. It's Ayo Babatakpa again from Manchester. I'm the ultimate IMG. I get called out because I've done the CSA 4 times. Today we're going to be talking about the reason why local graduates don't want to practice with you. Let me start by painting a picture. There's a chap called, let's call him Valentine, okay? Valentine attends, let's say, the Manchester Secondary School, born and bred in Manchester. He then went on to the University of Manchester to study medicine. He graduates, does F1, F2, maybe even takes a gap year, and then gets into GP training, let's say maybe at the ripe old age of 27. Okay, does his AKT, passes, and now it's time to prepare for the CSA. All right, so hold the thought right there. Let's now talk about the other chap. His name is Ayo. All right, so Ayo attends, let's say, Federal Government College Lagos, one of the best schools in the country at secondary level. Very good grades, goes into the University of Ibadan. This is, some argue the best medical school in Nigeria, oldest premier university in the country, world-renowned medical school. Nearly every doctor who lectures or practices here has an FRCP, FRCS, FCCS, FACS, all of them have been trained abroad. So top notch, okay? So as soon as he graduates from medical school, he does the equivalent of foundation, does the compulsory 1-year national youth service, and then comes to the UK to do a master's degree in public health. After 2 years, does some locum here and there, SHO jobs, then decides to get into GP training. By this time, he has arrived at the ripe old age of 35, okay? He is carrying along with him a lovely wife and maybe 2 kids, okay? Don't forget, this is just a hypothetical guy, okay? 2 years later, he does the AKT, passes first time, and now it's time for the CSA. Okay, now don't forget, this is a chap who has never failed an exam he was expecting to pass. Okay, now when it now comes to time for choosing groups, Ayo is asking around groups, etc. Valentine is also looking. Don't forget, our first example was a chap called Valentine. He's also looking for a group to join so that they can start discussions. Valentine is not terribly keen to practice with Ayo. Okay, now Ayo might be tempted to go away thinking of, bias, maybe even things racist or something, but it's a bit more complex than that, isn't it? Because you see, many local graduates have been told avoid practicing with IMGs. Okay, they will drag your mark down, they've been told. Okay, it's been widely published. They've been publishing this results and outcomes of CSA attempts by local graduates versus international medical graduates. The oldest report I saw was in 2012. So these things have been known for a long time, that less than 50% of international medical graduates are going to be successful at the first attempt at the CSA, while close to, more than 90% of local graduates are going to be successful at their first attempt. Okay, so this is a well publicized playground gossip in most medical schools in the UK. The RCGP publishes it in various formats. The BMA publishes it in various formats. BAPIO publishes it. The GMC, publishes it. If you ever met Valentine, okay, a local graduate, you know that you have better chances of passing if you practice with other local graduates, and you have this Ayo chap asking to practice with you. Would you want to practice with Ayo? It's a valid question. So just before you run off and say somebody is biased or being racist, you need to ask yourself that question, okay? And don't forget, a sizable number of local graduates are also of black and minority ethnic origin. So it's really difficult to sell this as just simple racism, okay? Now, because if I share my first experience with you of trying to get into a group, my training program director at the time, he had divided all of us in the cohort into groups of 8 or thereabouts, okay? Now, the group that I was put into, was made up of about, myself and 7 others, 5 of whom were young, single, vibrant chaps who, I would have counted myself as a part of because of, the interactions we've been having up till then. We were in the same practices as well. The other 2 ladies in the group, very smart ladies as well, brilliant and nice as well. Unfortunately, fortunately for them, they're mothers, they are working part-time, they had staggered ideas about when they were going to do the CSA, so getting into groupings with anybody was not the thing on their priority list at the time. So, I walked up to one of the other chaps and said, right, so when are we starting? When should we start to get serious about, grouping up and starting to practice for our CSA? And he said to me, well, we 5, that's him and the others, and these other ones that I described as young and vibrant. We 5 have been doing something together anyway. We've kind of been, doing some practice together. We've kind of been, so I think we should just continue, and the rest of you can form a new group, basically. So, so in one fell swoop, it took the vibrant, young, unmarried trainees in the group and lumped me together with these other 2 who were, equally smart young ladies, but who obviously, had other priorities, so effectively I was frozen out, I was just alone out in the cold. I don't know if I would have done things differently now, but at the time, I was kind of slightly hurt, but the idea that I was being excluded because I was an international medical graduate, that idea didn't occur to me. I had to go and beg some other ladies and some other chaps in a different group, to allow me to be part of them, and we kind of went on from there. Now, going back to this other group that that I was left out of, none of the other chaps, none of the other 4 asked any questions. None of them came up to me and said, look, what's going on? Ayo is not joining us for practice or something like that. So, in my opinion, this first chap who told me, to find a different group effectively was only carrying out a collective wish. None of them wanted to practice with me. And you couldn't say he was being racist. This chap is, my skin color is of Indian origin. So, I don't know. I guess, or maybe I'm just naive. I don't know. But that's how it is. So, from my observations, I've come across 2 reasons why this happens. I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on those 2 reasons in my next video, which you can find by logging onto the channel. If you want to follow me, it's Ultimate IMG1 on both Instagram and Twitter. If you want to send me an email, it's ultimateimg1@gmail.com. Thanks very much. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like this video if you think it's made any difference to you. And I'll see you next time.